We will start down here in the Burnsville area, and I'll show you something that's kind of interesting. So for distance wise, you know, you're only looking about from Burnsville to the heart of the Twin Cities, 15 miles. So this first ring that goes up to Egan over here, in St. Paul, this first ring around here is really about 15-mile radius. And you can live anywhere in the first ring and you'll be just fine for, purposes of, kind of just looking around and stuff. So let's go. I'm going to have to pull this into because I want to draw. For you guys. We'll do the first little pen here. So we are going to cover this Burnsville Savage area. Really great area for living. Your average price point is going to be in your 350s, 400s. But one thing that you are going to hear a lot about is this Bloomington area here. Bloomington is the home of, I bet you guessed it, home of Mall of America, the largest mall in the country, and has an indoor roller coasters in here and so much more. It's so much fun in this area here. So let's go ahead and just learn a little bit more about Bloomington here. If you go ahead and just check out the Mall of America, you'll find out the Mall of America is one of the largest shopping malls around in the whole area. But you got a lot of trails. Now that Spoon technically is in Minneapolis here. So the next area over, let's go over to this Eden Prairie right here. Eden Prairie is a great school district as well. It's about 12 miles, southwest of the downtown area. You'll kind of see some pictures here. Just a quick overview of each place. Population is about 64,000. Eden Prairie, a lot of walking trails in the Eden Prairie area here as well. And then now we're going up to Minnetonka. Minnetonka, it's a little ritzier area, let's call it that. A lot of mansion kind of houses here because you have Lake Minnetonka here. This is one of the biggest lakes closest to the Twin Cities area. You can kind of see how far that is, the Twin Cities here, but let's check out some photos here of Minnetonka. Now, Minnetonka is definitely more of the historic kind of areas of the Twin Cities. We're just going to quickly cover, going around, points of interest, of course. Close to Minnetonka is going to be Paisley Park. That's where Prince is, and not in Minnetonka, but technically in Chanhassen. And Chanhassen's not very far from Minnetonka. And then moving on up here, of course, it's going to be your Wayzata. Wayzata is one of the nicest school districts for sure. A lot of people like to be in the Wayzata school district. So you want to maybe check that out if that is something that you are thinking about. And the Wayzata school district now does cover multiple areas here. So let me get the drawing tool back out here again. So you're going to notice this Plymouth area here. Never get the drawing tool to work properly when you need it, right? There we go. The Wayzata, it's going to cover a little bit about this Plymouth area here, and it's going to be about here is for the Wayzata school district. Now moving on up, here is going to be Maple Grove. I've done some videos about Maple Grove. So Maple Grove is another great area to live in. And then up here is going to be your Osseo area. So let's just talk about traffic in this area right here. This whole 494, you'll hear about this a lot right here. The biggest congestion area of 494 is going to be where 494 meets 35W, and that's going to be right in this area right here. So if you're thinking about the commute, I'm let's say you work down here and you're living up in Maple Grove. This is going to take you a good 45 minutes. Especially you got to remember in Minnesota we have winters, like it's snowing out right now. You're going to be spending an extra 15 to 20 minutes in your vehicle, especially going up 494 during the wintertime. So just think about the commute there as well. Another major artery is this 94 that you see going across right here on the north side. So this area gets very congested. I've spoken about this before in previous videos, but this 494 right here in 94, especially in the wintertime, get really backed up. And the problem is here that people are coming from over on this side of town. Maybe they're coming from the St. Paul area and they're traveling this way. And then 494 is going north right here. And then there's a bottleneck right in this area. So what happens is this big bottleneck, to let you know, of course, since it starts here, gets backed up all the way through here. So if you're trying to get up to Maple Grove or Plymouth and you're stalled right here, most likely that bottleneck started right here, and that's why it's backed up. So just keep that in mind if you don't like commuting or not being in your car very long. So that's what's going on there. Another major area of traffic is going to be this 169 that goes through here. So not as bad, but definitely, you might want to be paying attention to the traffic patterns, but going north, of course, in the evening, and south going for your morning commutes here. So that's what's going on there. Then we're going to go around. Now we got Osseo right here. Osseo and Maple Grove are kind of basically sister neighborhoods. I'm going to call it that because your Maple Grove school district will also include your Osseo school district. Another area that you don't really see on the map very well, unless if you kind of zoom in, is Rogers. And Rogers is right here. And for the people that are on the south of the river, down in this Bloomington area that I was talking to you about down here, Rogers seems forever. Like you need a passport to get there. But if you're in the Maple Grove area, this Rogers to Maple Grove, I'll show you how far it is. It's a 10-minute commute, to get to here. But just show you this. It's about, 8 miles, 10-minute commute. So if that's something that you might want to consider, there's a lot of new construction going on in Rogers. So that's something that you might want to be, considering on that. So going around, now we're up here in the almost 12 o'clock, 11:30 area, Rogers, and skipping on over here, you're going to run into Mound View a lot of times and Shoreview. Shoreview is another great area to live in. Tons of lakes in Shoreview. You like that kind of stuff. You got Turtle Lake up there and so many other lakes. I mean, I've told you that Minnesota has 10,000 lakes, but Shoreview is a great community, great school districts, beautiful homes. They're more historical kind of homes as well. So we might want to be checking out Shoreview. I'll be doing a more in-depth video on Shoreview going around. And now we're heading over to Little Canada. And then, of course, St. Paul. St. Paul now is, Minneapolis is St. Paul. I'll show you it's not very far away, but that is why they call it the Twin Cities here. Talking about 8-mile distance, but for traffic wise, this is about 15 to 20 minutes to get, across. I'll give you a tip. If you do live over on the northwest area, when we're talking about like anything above here, I'll give you a tip for traffic. Do not try to get to St. Paul by going down here, cutting across Minneapolis, because right in this area, oh man, there's so much congestion and you are going to get backed up, trying to get over to the St. Paul area. The trick is honestly might look longer, but it's a lot faster. If you're anywhere in this northwest area up here, what you want to do is go this direction, hit this 94, hit the suburbs, go around like this, and come on down. This will save you a lot of headache, a lot of pain, a lot of screaming, and you will get there quicker. So the shortest route is not the fastest route of getting over to the St. Paul area. So that's a tip for you. If you have any other tips about traffic patterns, if you know of any, leave it in the comments. Have you ever done that before? Have you gone the long way around and then figured out it was actually the fastest way going around? So now we're going to move on over to the St. Paul area here in this Maplewood. Maplewood is definitely growing. This Maplewood area here, Oakdale, Woodbury area. So if you're working in this area, this will be another great part. A lot of new construction, newer homes, but for economic wise, a little cheaper homes, if you're kind of budget friendly, this is a great area right here. The St. Paul area here, North St. Paul, South St. Paul. If you're on a budget, it is older homes. The Minneapolis St. Paul area is older over here. And then, of course, over this direction are the newer homes. Not newer as in development, but newer cities. Not as old of cities. Okay. Now let's go around to the bottom here. And let's kind of clean this up a little bit because there's so much, going on about that. We'll clean that up. And we're going to be heading down, going around this whole 494 is Eagan. Here, I'll put a little star. Eagan is another great area. We got the Minnesota Zoo here. You got Apple Valley, Rosemont, and Burnsville has a mall there. And then, of course, Lakeville, anything below that is considered what we say south of the river. And south of the river is really any of these suburbs down here is what we mean about south of the river here in the Twin Cities area. So the Minnesota Zoo is a great zoo that's over in Apple Valley, technically. This is a paid zoo, but they have incredible animals over here. The other zoo is over in St. Paul, and that is, the Como Zoo. So we'll hop over to, St. Paul is right here. So you're going to run into the Como Zoo, and the Como Zoo is very close to the State Fair. And if you heard anything about the State Fair, Minnesota has the largest State Fair. We got some incredible things here. We got the largest mall. We got the largest state fair in the country. So that's kind of fun. And we got the most lakes. So the Science Museum is over in St. Paul. And there's so many activities over here in the St. Paul area. But that will be another video. But I want to give you a quick first ring tour of the Twin Cities here. So, and dive on down here. You got Prior Lake. Prior Lake is where Mystic Lake Casino is. Mystic Lake Casino, if you Google it, you'll notice Prior Lake has some nice homes around here. You got the Prior Lake itself, but Mystic Lake Casino is the largest casino in the country. A lot of people think it's Vegas, but Vegas has a lot of smaller casinos on a strip. So we actually have the largest casino. So throw that on there. Largest mall, largest casino, and we got the largest state fair. So there's anything else that you might want to know, check out my bio. My contact information's in there. If you want a certain video, a very specific tour of a certain area, reach out to me. Email, phone call, a text, any way that you prefer communication, and I will make your transition to the Minneapolis, St. Paul area a smooth one.